By 1795, the French Revolution had devoured its own architects and was staggering forward under the weight of political chaos. The radical Jacobins had fallen, the reign of terror had ended in blood, and the Thermidorian reaction left France searching for stability. Out of this confusion emerged a new governing body, the Directory, weak, unpopular, and struggling to control the nation. Paris was a city exhausted by years of upheaval, scarcity, and fear. Bread remained scarce. Currency lost value by the month. People who once supported revolutionary ideals had become disillusioned by corruption and factionalism. Royalists sensed an opening. They believed the revolution had lost its moral power, that the people desired order once again, and that the monarchy might be restored if decisive action were taken. In this tense environment, a spark ignited. The Royalist uprising of 13 Vendémiaire, year 4 of the revolutionary calendar, October 5, 1795. Thousands of insurgents armed themselves, preparing to march on the Tuileries Palace, where the Directory sat. If they succeeded, the government would fall. Paris would collapse into civil war. The gains of the revolution, however fragile, would likely vanish in a single afternoon. The Directory needed a commander, someone capable, efficient, and not paralyzed by indecision. Paul Barras, one of the 5 directors, remembered the young general who had distinguished himself at Toulon 2 years earlier. Napoleon, recently unemployed, frustrated, and drifting, was available. Barras approached him with a simple request: stop the uprising. For Napoleon, the moment was electric. Political fortunes had turned against him after the fall of Robespierre, and he had spent months in professional limbo. This crisis offered what he needed most: a chance to prove himself indispensable to the Republic once again. He accepted the task with clarity and speed, immediately requesting artillery, the branch of warfare where he held unmatched confidence. The Royalists, numbering somewhere between 20,000 and 30,000, gathered throughout Paris. They were determined, motivated, and convinced of victory. Many believed the regular army would hesitate to fire upon civilians. This assumption would prove disastrously wrong. Napoleon's first move was decisive. He ordered Joachim Murat, a bold cavalry officer who later became one of his closest allies, to seize 40 cannons from a nearby camp. Murat accomplished the mission with remarkable speed. With artillery now secured, Napoleon positioned his cannons strategically around the streets leading to the Tuileries. He understood Parisian geography intimately and recognized where the Royalists were strongest and most vulnerable. When the rebels advanced, Napoleon allowed them to come within close range. He knew that firing too early would weaken the psychological impact. But when they crossed the invisible threshold he had calculated, he gave the order. Artillery unleashed grapeshot, small iron balls that transformed cannons into colossal shotguns. The effect was immediate and devastating. Streets filled with smoke, screams, and shattered formations. The Royalists, unprepared for such force, wavered and faltered. Wave after wave attempted to push forward, but each time they were met with the same cold precision. Napoleon did not hesitate, did not flinch, and did not negotiate. He used controlled, overwhelming firepower to break the momentum of the uprising. Within hours, the Royalist movement was crushed. The streets were littered with debris, but the Directory remained intact. The Republic had been saved by the uncompromising will of a 26-year-old general. The aftermath was immediate and transformative. Paris, shaken by the violence yet relieved by the restored order, began to speak of Napoleon as a man of destiny. The Directory showered him with praise. Barras, recognizing his value, appointed him commander of the Army of the Interior, a position of power, influence, and prestige The young general now had the authority to shape the military and the political environment in the capital. The victory also solidified Napoleon's reputation beyond military circles. His swift and ruthless suppression of the uprising sent a message to both his allies and enemies. He was not merely a skilled tactician. He was a force capable of reshaping the political landscape. He would act decisively, even brutally when necessary. And he would not hesitate to assert his role in France's future. Yet 13 Vendémiaire was more than a turning point for France. It was a turning point for Napoleon personally. It introduced him to influential political figures, including the widow Joséphine de Beauharnais, who would soon play a central role in both his personal and political life. His ascent into high society began here, at the intersection of military victory and political necessity. Contemporaries debated the meaning of his actions. Royalists labeled him a butcher. Republicans hailed him as a savior. But even his critics admitted that his actions had prevented a civil war and preserved the fragile republic. In the words of one observer, he fired upon the crowd not to destroy the revolution, but to prevent it from destroying itself. The events of 13 Vendémiaire solidified something even Napoleon himself may not have fully realized before that day. He was capable not only of winning battles, but of shaping the destiny of entire governments. The revolution had given him opportunity. Now he possessed the authority to direct its future. From this moment forward, Napoleon Bonaparte would no longer be a talented young officer searching for his path. He was a rising political figure, a commander of national importance, and a man whose actions could tip the balance of power in France. His next chapter would take him far from Paris, to a theater of war where he would demonstrate brilliance on a scale Europe had rarely seen: the mountains and valleys of northern Italy.